Greetings from Sihagar Dental College and Hospital, Pune. This is the next collaborative learning activity organized by the Department of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery. Ludwig's angina is the topic of this session. The purpose of this session is to gain an exam-oriented approach towards answering questions related to this topic in the university examinations. Ludwig's angina is frequently asked in the university exams in either long answer or short answer format. For a long answer question, which carries 10 marks, it is framed as what is Ludwig's angina? Describe in detail etiopathogenesis, signs and symptoms, and management. Now, before starting your answer, it is very important that you plan and frame the skeleton of your answer. So for a 10-mark long answer question, the rough mark split up could be in such a way. The definition carries 1 mark, the etiopathology would carry 2 marks, then the clinical features, which would include your signs and symptoms, would hold 3 marks, and the management has 2 aspects, the medical management and the surgical management, which would carry 2 marks each. Keeping this in mind, we'll proceed further to get our knowledge in pen and paper, with giving a start to our answer with the definition. So Ludwig's angina is a form of firm, acute, toxic, and severe diffuse cellulitis or induration that spreads rapidly, bilaterally, affecting the submandibular, sublingual, and submental spaces. After this, we have 2 types of Ludwig's angina. The first type is the true or classic Ludwig's angina, which presents with a dental origin. And the second type is the pseudo-Ludwig's angina, which has a non-dental origin. Coming to the etiology next, which probably carries 1 mark, there are 8 points under the etiology. The first point is odontogenic infections, which is the most common cause. The most commonly involved teeth are the mandibular second and third molars. It can cause infection in the following forms: acute dentoalveolar abscess, acute periodontal abscess, and the pericoronal abscess. The second point is traumatic injuries. The examples are mandibular fracture, which could be compound or comminuted, oral soft tissue lacerations, and osteomyelitis secondary to compound mandibular fracture. The third point is silodinitis of either the submandibular and sublingual glands, secondary infection of oral malignancies, pharyngeal infection or tonsillitis, iatrogenic factors, for example, the use of a contaminated needle, cervical lymphoid tissues, and lastly, we have the miscellaneous factors which are rare, for example, the foreign bodies like fish bone. After this, we have the pathophysiology, which again carries 1 mark. The Ludwig's angina is a diffuse inflammation of soft tissues, which tends to spread through the facial spaces and along facial plane. Such type of spreading infection occurs in the presence of organisms that produce significant amounts of hyaluronidase and fibrinolysins. These help to break down hyaluronic acid and fibrin respectively, which helps infection to spread rapidly. Streptococci, being predominant producers of hyaluronidase, are always associated with classical or true Ludwig's angina. After this, I want you to have a look at the clinical presentation. The first picture shows a bilateral swelling extraorally and an abnormal tongue posture. The second picture shows sublingual swelling. Also, you can note the reduced mouth opening. And the third picture also shows an extraoral swelling. So based on this, we will frame our clinical features which carry 3 marks. So we'll be dividing it into 3 parts: the general examination, the extraoral examination, and the intraoral examination. Under general examination, we will see that the patient looks toxic, very ill. He presents with chills and malaise. There is marked pyrexia, dehydration, difficulty in swallowing or dysphagia, and impaired speech and hoarseness of voice. In the extraoral features, first we will be describing the swelling according to the points in general surgery, and then we'll be adding the other extraoral features. So we'll be describing the swelling first. The site of the swelling is suprahyoid. The site is bilateral. It shows a cardboard-like consistency. The borders are ill-defined. It shows non-pitting. The fluctuation is negative, and the swelling has tenderness on palpation. The other extraoral features are difficulty in swallowing and breathing, inability to close the mouth, raised tongue with restricted movements, Shallow breathing with accessory muscles, and fatal death may occur within 10 to 24 hours due to asphyxia if untreated. The intraoral features are increased salivation, stiffness of tongue, difficulty in speech, hot potato speech, which is a characteristic to this condition, drooling of saliva, which could be because of reduced control of muscles and posture, edema of the glottis, which cause air obstruction, and development of stridor, which is an alarming sign. After this, we come to the management. But before management, it is important that we frame the objectives of our treatment. So the objectives of treatment in treating Ludwig's angina are: number one, to secure and maintain the airway; number two, to restore the function; number three, to limit the spread of infection and reduce its severity; and the last one is to restore aesthetics. The main principles of treatment. The first one is airway maintenance, and the most important one. The second one is medical principles of treatment. The first one is airway maintenance, which is the most important one. The second one is medical management with the use of drugs. And the third one is surgical management to reduce the compression caused by the swelling. First thing that we're doing is the admission of the patient to the hospital. After this, we'll be securing the airway, that is airway maintenance. The suggested methods are tracheostomy, fiber optic laryngoscopy, and nasoendotracheal intubation. After this, we will be procuring a sample for culture and sensitivity testing. And next, we have medical management. In this, we will be having an intravenous access, fluid resuscitation, and intravenous administration of antibiotics. Antibiotic therapy should be administered empirically initially. Changes to be made according to culture and sensitivity results. The common regimens are penicillins with beta-lactamase inhibitor, second, third, fourth generation cephalosporins, and metronidazole. The drugs which are used are ampicillin and clindamycin, which are effective for anorexia, piperacillin, tazobactam, which is effective in polymyxin infection, and the addition of gentamicin to empirical therapy for diabetic patients. It is important to note that control of blood sugar level to 200 is imperative for good infection therapy. The most important part in management is the management. First of all, we'll be extracting pending foods. Secondly, we'll be going on to incision and drainage. There are certain principles given by Topazian. They are: incise the healthy skin and mucosa when possible, not at site of maximum structure. Do it with unsightly scar. Place the incision in natural skin fold. Place the incision in a dependent position. Dissect bluntly. Place a drain and remove the drains when drainage becomes minimal. Now, there are certain incision specifications for Ludwig's angina, and these are bilateral submandibular and midline submental incisions to be made. The incision should be approximately 3 to 4 centimeters below the angle of the mandible and below the inferior aspect of swelling, roughly parallel to the inferior border of the mandible. The drainage specifications are: bilateral drainage of all the 3 involved spaces is preferred. Sublingual and submental spaces are drained separately to avoid the perforation of the mylohyoid muscle. After this, care has to be taken to preserve or avoid trauma to the facial vessels, the lingual nerve, and the jugular vein laterally below the angle region. And lastly, irrigation. Copious irrigation of the wound drains with an antibacterial solution is important. In this picture, we can see that the airway has been managed and the drains are placed. In this, the left picture is a preoperative photograph where we see a sublingual swelling, whereas the picture on the right is a postoperative photograph after effective medical and surgical management, which shows symptomatic relief and the swelling has subsided. Also, to make your answer complete and to fetch the brownie points, You could also add about the complications of this condition, like the angioneurotic edema, lymphadenitis, peritonsillar abscess, salivary gland abscess, and sublingual hematoma. So this was about Ludwig's angina. I hope this would help you in your exams. Thank you so much.